Hey guys, I'm Mark the Geek. In this video, I'm going to be comparing the Nintendo Switch with the PlayStation Vita. And of course, I'm going to share with you guys my opinion about both devices and if you should buy one or the other at the end of this video. Let's go ahead and get started. Before we start with the differences between these two devices, let's show you guys the differences between the games and the storage media for both consoles. So for example, here we got the PlayStation Vita World of Final Fantasy, which is an awesome RPG game. And over here we got the Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, which is honestly, in my opinion, the game that you should be buying right now for the Nintendo Switch. So like you see here, the cases, right away you can tell that this one is smaller than this one. But in the inside, when you open it up, both cases, the cards are basically the same size. This one is basically a waste of plastic. Look at all the plastic you have here. But let's go and take the games out. Let's go and take this game out, like you see there. And these are the differences between them too. Like you see, they are pretty much similar when it comes in size, pretty much similar. The PlayStation Vita card is actually a little bit wider. You see there, it's a little bit wider than the Nintendo Switch, but the Nintendo Switch card is actually thicker than the PlayStation Vita card. And another thing that I noticed is that on the Nintendo Switch, there's actually like a rattle inside. Like you see there, you can actually hear a rattle, and I don't know if that's normal or if that's my cartridge that's a little bit defective or not, but let me know in the comments if this is normal. Let's go and show you guys the storage media that you use for these two devices, or the storage cards that you use. So right now I have a 32 gigabyte card, and the problem with these cards is that they are exclusive for the PlayStation Vita, and the PlayStation, they are super expensive. This one right here actually cost me, I think, a little bit over $50 when I purchased it. And there's a 64 gigabyte version for around $100. If you're lucky, you could get it for $90. But just the other day, I was looking for them on Amazon, and I actually saw them for $110. Okay, now this on the Nintendo Switch, what's great about it is that it uses the normal micro SD cards. So a 32 gigabyte card could actually cost you like $15, where this actually costs you over $50. I actually saw like a 64 gigabyte card for around $21. Well, this one is 64 gigabytes for a Vita card will actually cost you like around $100. So you get the differences, right? So honestly, for $100, I think you can actually get the 128 gigabyte card, which is insane cheap compared to the PlayStation Vita. And that, you know, it's kind of sad. Here, of course, on the PlayStation Vita, when you're going to put the card, you just put it up here in the back. You can see there. Goes right there in the back. And over here on the Nintendo Switch, you just got to lift the kickstand. Go lift the kickstand right there. And of course, remember, when you're removing these cards from the devices, make sure you turn them off. Make sure you turn the console off. And there you go. It goes just like that. And it covers itself with the kickstand. So if you don't use the kickstand that much, it's actually protecting the card. But even when you're using the kickstand, there's no harm to it, because like you see there, the card actually you know, sticks in, and so there's no harm to the card at all when you're using it in kickstand mode. And for the games, all you got to do is put the card right here. Like see here, the PlayStation Vita has the opening right there. You put this right there like that, and you're ready to go. And over here on the Nintendo Switch, it also has like a little compartment there as well on the top. And you put the game right there, slide it in, and you're ready to go. That's it. Now let's talk about the physical differences between these two devices. And of course, starting with the Nintendo Switch, of course, it's bigger because this right here is a 6.2 inch screen, which is 1280 by 720p. And games right here like Zelda and Fast RMX just looks incredible. No problem whatsoever when it comes to graphics on this device so far. On the PlayStation Vita, this has a 5-inch screen, which is 960 by 544. But believe me guys, games that are created for the PlayStation Vita looks really incredible, like World of Final Fantasy, Persona 4, Uncharted, Killzone Mercenaries. A lot of those games on the PlayStation Vita, they look incredible. Now, other things to keep in mind here is, of course, the the portability of these two devices. If you ask me which one feels more portable for on-the-go gaming, I have to go with the PlayStation Vita because it has a first of all, it has a beautiful screen and it fits in my pocket perfectly good. I use this sometimes when I'm going to fix my car, repair my car or something like that, or change the oil. I'm taking this and I'm putting this in front of my on my front pocket. This right here would be really hard to put in your front pocket. In the rear pocket, it would also be a little bit hard because remember you got these buttons sticking out, which are the RZ and the LZ buttons over here. And you know, it's a lot bigger and it's of course a little bit heavier as well, but you know, there's a lot of things going on for the Nintendo Switch which makes it incredible over the PlayStation Vita. Like for example, the fact that it has NFC as well. You can actually use amiibos here by tapping right here on this section right here, and you can actually register amiibos and you can use amiibos in your game. Also here you can take a screenshot. Click right there. Okay, right now it's not taking a screenshot because it's on a photo, but right there we could take a screenshot. It has a physical button for a screenshot button. Over here on the PlayStation Vita, it does not have a physical button to take in screenshot, but if you press here and here, you can actually take a screenshot. So, you know, it's not a big deal, not a big difference there. But one of the major selling points of the Nintendo Switch is the hybrid console feature, which is amazing. For example, right now we could take these Joy-Cons off and you could go ahead and take the kickstand out, put it like this, put it like that. And now you can actually play with your friend using these Joy-Cons. You could give one to your buddy, one for yourself, and you can actually now start playing a co-op game depending on the game that you're playing, or you could play a versus 1 versus 2 player. It's incredible that you can actually do this with a small device like this. And what's also cool is that it also comes with these Joy-Con covers that comes with a sling, that if you need to have a better grip, you could put it like that and it will actually give you a better grip to play, you know, with these shoulder buttons. And it does make a big huge difference. And what's cool is that it actually comes with these. You don't actually have to buy them. And of course, if you want to connect them to the TV, if you want to put this on the TV, all you gotta do is use the Joy Grip right here. Oops, I almost put it wrong way. Right like that. There you go. Put this right here. There you go, and there you go. So now you can actually use this as a full controller and slide this. Just put the kickstand back and slide this on the dock. And what's awesome about this is that it automatically switches to the freaking TV, and the transition from the device to the screen and from the screen to the device is just like that. On the other side, the PlayStation Vita is a portable console first, but a couple years ago, Sony actually came out with this device, which is at first was called PlayStation Vita TV when it came out in Japan first, and then when it came to the United States, it actually got called PlayStation TV. Now, what this device is supposed to do is that it will let you play PlayStation Vita games. Like, see here, let's go ahead and take this out. It would let you play PlayStation Vita games. You could hook it up here. Dun, 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 dun. It has a port right here, just like the PlayStation Vita. You put it right there, and it actually had here in the back a slot for the SD card, so you could put the SD card from here or the card from here and put it here. You have a USB port, you have HDMI to connect it to the TV. You actually had a physical port for the internet, and you got the power there. And what this is supposed to do is actually let you play PlayStation Vita games on the TV. And the great thing is that it actually worked for some games, and that's the problem. It worked only for some games, which is kind of freaking weird because, like I said, when it came out in Japan, it was actually called PlayStation Vita TV. And the one thing that couldn't do is play PlayStation Vita games on the TV, which is freaking embarrassing. But of course, the number one problem is that it can't play every PlayStation Vita games on the TV. But right now, as it is, there's a whole bunch of games coming out for this that are compatible with the PlayStation Vita TV. And I'll show you guys here in the video that there's a whole bunch of games that are coming out for the Vita that are being compatible with the PlayStation TV. And Sony decided, instead of fixing the problem, they decided to discontinue this device, which is freaking embarrassing, because here you got some hackers or some Sony loyalists creating a hack, making all the games compatible with the PlayStation TV. Sony's proper engineers cannot fix it. You know, what's wrong with Sony? I don't get it. So yeah, when you think about it, Sony actually had the almost same idea as the Nintendo Switch, but in reverse. The Nintendo Switch actually plays console games on the go. The PlayStation TV was actually meant to play your PlayStation Vita games on the TV. But of course, it didn't play all the PlayStation Vita games on the TV, and they miserably failed. Now, another cool way of gaming on the PlayStation Vita, which I've been using it a lot, is the PlayStation Vita Remote Play feature, which lets you play PlayStation 4 games on the PlayStation Vita. But the only problem is that you need great internet for it to work properly. But the good thing is, if you have great internet, you can actually be in another country and your PlayStation 4 can be at your home in El Paso, Texas, like myself, and you can actually turn on the PlayStation 4 via the internet, play your video games here, and you can actually turn it off as well from wherever you are. I tested it like a couple years ago. I was in Puerto Rico, and I was actually playing with my PlayStation Vita in Puerto Rico, and my PlayStation 4 was actually at home, and it worked perfectly good. But of course, the number one problem with the Remote 2 is that not every game plays really good on the Vita, because some games require using the R1 or the R2 buttons, and they're configured on the rear instead of the front. They don't use properly all the buttons, and sometimes you're gonna have to buy a trigger like this, like I already have a couple videos in my channel. So all you gotta do is snap it right here, boom, and it turns your PlayStation Vita into a proper controller that can actually play a PlayStation 4 games. You got the L2 and the R2 button. On the Nintendo Switch, it's completely hybrid out of the box. The PlayStation Vita is, number one, a portable console that you can actually play PlayStation 4 games on the go or in another room using the screen. But of course, you need good internet, and some games are not going to be compatible 100%, so you're going to need to buy one of these triggers for it to be a better experience. And of course, the PlayStation TV box that Sony created first was a failure because Sony let it fail, honestly, because this was a great freaking idea. And another cool thing is that, of course, here on the Nintendo Switch, the games played here are 720p. When you hook this up to the TV, games go up to 900p to 1080p, depending on the game that you're playing. Here, it's 544p, right? But when you hook this up to the TV, games are actually get scaled up to 720p. Contrary to the Nintendo Switch that doesn't have any camera whatsoever, the PlayStation Vita actually has a rear-facing camera and a front-facing camera. And the application right here, when you open it up, this is how it looks. You can actually take pictures of your devices or anything like that. You can also switch here to video camera, and you can actually take videos as well just by clicking right there, and takes video. The quality of the camera is not that good at all. So it's around, I think it's like 480 by 640. I think that's what it is, something like that. It's not really good. So yeah, that's another cool thing about the PlayStation Vita. And now let's talk about the battery life, because the battery life here on the Nintendo Switch, I've been getting a little bit close to 3 hours of battery life when it comes to playing Zelda and Fast RMX. These are two games that are really demanding. So I'm getting around almost 3 hours of battery life. But depending on the games that you're actually playing, you might get over 4 hours or 5 hours of battery life. If you're playing light games like indie games, you're obviously gonna get 4 to 6 hours of battery life. On the PlayStation Vita, I've been actually getting over 4 hours of battery life, especially because the slim PlayStation Vita has a better battery life than the old PlayStation Vita. So honestly, I've been playing on the PlayStation Vita a lot on the go, and I get around 4 to 5 hours of battery life very, very easily. Now let's talk about the differences when it comes to the user interface. Like for example, on a Nintendo Switch, the background, you can only switch it from white to black or from black to white. That's it. Right now, there is no option to put pictures that you take and use them as your background. It kind of sucks, but that's how it is right now. Later on in the future, there might be an update for that. Also, when you install games, you're gonna see your games in like see here in tile mode. So like you see there, I don't know if later on in the future there's going to be an option to make these tiles smaller so you can see all the games on one screen, like the same way you can actually do on the Nintendo 3DS. Maybe later on in the future there might be an update for that, or maybe later on in the future there could be an option for folders. But as of right now, when you install games, you're gonna have a long line of games like that, going like that, and it stops right there. So I don't know if the more games you install, the more this opens up, or if you can actually make it smaller. On the PlayStation Vita, you can actually use any picture as your background. You could take screenshots of games and use them as your background, or you can actually use the internet browser that it actually has and search the internet for some pictures as well, and also go to websites with wallpapers, something that you cannot do on the Switch yet. It does not have an internet browser at all. Also, you can actually create folders as well. Like you see here, you can actually create folders as well and organize your applications and games like I do, and it works pretty damn good. It also has some media application like Netflix, Twitch. It has a full-blown Twitter app, and it also of course has email, has the camera, which I already showed you how it works, and of course it has an internet browser which you can actually use to browse the internet just like that, really, really easily. And what's cool as well is that you can actually connect wireless Bluetooth headset to your device as well. And it's something that right here on the Nintendo Switch, as of right now, you cannot do, which is kind of weird because the Switch actually has Bluetooth 4.1, but they're only using it for the Joy-Cons. That's it. Honestly, I think later on in the future there might be an update to enable that, but as of right now there's not an option for that. And as of right now there's not an option for internet applications. Here there's no web browser, there is no Netflix, there's no Hulu, there's no Twitter application, there's nothing like that at all as of right now, but later on in the future that can all change. Now before we finish the video, let's talk about a little bit of the games and services that are available on both devices. Like for example, on the Nintendo Switch right now, when you open up the eShop store, there's only 9 games available. Of course, one of them being a must buy, which is Zelda. You have to buy that game. You also have games like Bomberman, which is pretty cool but really, really expensive, $49. You got Fast RMX, which is a really awesome game, and you got Snipper Clips, which is another awesome game, and you got some indie games there that are really, really cool. But there's only 9 games right now, and coming soon, when you see here coming soon, there's only says 3 games coming soon. Of course, there's a whole bunch of more games coming soon, especially indie games coming for the Nintendo Switch and first party games coming for the Nintendo Switch. Now when it comes to the PlayStation Vita, the Vita has been on the market since 2011 when it came out in Japan. It came out in the United States February 2012, so it's been 5 years already. So the PlayStation Vita has a huge library of PlayStation Vita games. Not only can you play PlayStation Vita games, you can also play classic PSP games, classic PlayStation 1 game, and PS Mini games. So there's a whole bunch of games you can play here as well. Also, another great thing about the PlayStation Vita and PlayStation is that you have the service of PlayStation Plus, which one of the great advantages here is that every month you're gonna get free games that you can have for as long as you are a PlayStation Plus member. On the Nintendo Switch, there's still no multiplayer service yet or online service like that yet, but there's gonna be a service coming up later on in the future, which I think is $10 a month, and you get 1 game free, but I think the game expires after 1 month. That's what it is for now, but later on, like I said, a lot of things can change. Another great thing that you get with the PlayStation Plus service is that you also get cloud saving for your games. Like for example, if you are in a game like let's say this game right here, right? And I want to save it to the cloud. I click right there. Boom, it connects to the cloud, and I could go ahead and save my game file to the cloud. Now, if I take this game out and put it on another device, or if I put it on my PlayStation TV and connect it to the TV, I can actually download the file to that device, and now I can continue playing on that device. That's pretty damn good that you could do here with PlayStation Plus and the PlayStation Vita. The only problem with the PlayStation Vita right now is that Sony stopped supporting the PlayStation Vita when it comes to exclusive games. You're not gonna get new Uncharted, new God of War, Siphon Filter games on the PlayStation Vita at all, because Sony, they stopped supporting the Vita. The last exclusive game that was canceled was, I think, like 2 years ago. MLB The Show 15, it was canceled, and last year it didn't come out for the Vita, and this year it's not going to come out for the Vita as well. So that really sucks. The only developers that are actually supporting the Vita is Japanese AAA developer companies, which are pretty good. If you like games like Atelier Furious, if you like games like Stranger of Sword City Revisited, Berserker, The Band of the Hog with bonus, if you like games like that, Japanese style games, the Vita is going to be perfect for you. Also, there's a lot of indie games coming out for the Vita, but I've also noticed a lot of indie developers canceling games for the Vita, and that is really sad. So now on the Nintendo Switch, of course, you're going to get the first party support, which means Nintendo is going to fully support this device with their first party games, Mario games, Zelda games, Splatoon, you name it. All their franchises are gonna come to the Nintendo Switch, and I'm pretty sure they're gonna support it all the way through until the end of the device. But of course, it's also going to be supported by a lot of indie games. There's been a lot of indie games that were announced for the Nintendo Switch that look pretty damn good. For example, Yooka-Laylee is coming out pretty soon, and I'm gonna get that game for here. And that game looks like a AAA console game, and it's gonna look perfect here. It's not gonna come out for the Vita. Also, a lot of Lego games are gonna look better, I think, here than here. And games, for me, the Nintendo Switch has a better chance of having more console experience gaming on the go than on the Vita, because on the Vita there's a lot of games that, for example, Lego games that are console games. On the Vita, they strip it down a lot, and sometimes it feels just like an iPhone or an Android game. On the Nintendo Switch, there's a chance that those games are going to be the full version of the console, and that's a really big deal, if you ask me. They're both region free. That means you can buy games from Japan here, you can buy games from Japan there, and they will work perfectly good. Well, guys, and that's it for this video comparison of the Switch versus the PlayStation Vita. And I have to answer a question people keep asking me before I finish the video: should I buy the Vita or should I buy the Switch? Honestly, I gotta be very honest. I really love the PlayStation Vita, and I've been playing the PlayStation Vita since day one, since it actually came out in Japan 2011 December. And it's been more than 5 years when you count that time. And the problem is that Western support and Sony support is not coming anymore for the Vita. The Nintendo Switch barely came out. I also love the hybrid console feature. It's incredible. I think it's a really awesome idea. And I think if there's a Vita 2, it might be very similar to the Nintendo Switch. So if you ask me which one you should buy right now, remember, this is $200. This is $300. I would honestly recommend the Nintendo Switch because it barely came out, and there's a whole bunch of games to come out in the years to come. The Vita is great. The Vita is awesome. I love the Vita. I really love earning trophies here. It sucks that here we don't have those kind of rewards like achievement or trophies, but I still recommend buying the Switch because it just came out, and my experience so far has been incredible. And I really love gaming on the go, and I really love gaming my console games on the go, and that's what the Nintendo Switch gives me without any wires attached, without depending on internet, just like the Vita actually requires you to. So guys, that's it with my video. Let me know your opinions about both devices. Like I said, I love both devices, but I think since this one just came out right now, I think you should save your money and get your Nintendo Switch because I don't know, it just came out, and I believe Nintendo will actually support it more than Sony supported their console. Thanks for watching the video, guys. Till next time.